Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Dev Code Camp podcast. I'm your host, Carl Peterson, Dev Code Camp social media producer, and I am super excited about today. I say this every episode. It's hard not to be excited about every episode, but I'm particularly excited about this one because we have someone who is a very familiar face within Dev Code Camp walls. Pretty much every student and obviously every staff member. Today we have the one and only Carrie Moody. Carrie, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, Carl, thanks for having me.
You're so welcome. So, Carrie, what exactly do you do at devCodeCamp? What is your title?
Yeah, so I am actually the director of admissions. So I am the front lines of devCodeCamp.
Right on, front lines. I like that. That is literally what you are. And we're going to talk, obviously, a little bit more about that in detail. But from a high level, what does admissions do?
Yeah, so my admissions team, what we do is we take anyone who is interested in attending our boot camp and we supply them with all the information that they could possibly need to help them make their decision. And then once they are ready to move forward, it is our responsibility and that's what we get excited about, helping them get all the tools that they need to get started and set up for classes and get them going in the boot camp. And then we hand them over to instruction.
Awesome. So what would you say the main goal of admissions is?
Yeah, so really we are wanting to get to know our potential students, their goals, and what they're looking for. You know, there are a lot of boot camps out there, but I think we have a lot of really unique things that we can provide. So it's really exciting to discover all of the things that these potential students are looking for and really being able to connect with them and show them that one, we can provide those things for them, but also the other kind of half of that is showing them that this is absolutely possible, that we're here to encourage them and support them through this decision-making process as well.
That's great. So if someone is interested in devCodeCamp, they fill out a form. There's multiple ways to get to your team.
Correct.
But let's use the form example on the website. So someone fills out a form on the website. What happens next? Can you walk us through that next step or the next couple steps?
Absolutely. Honestly, the next step is the scariest, but once it happens, you're like, hey, that wasn't so bad. So half of my team, their entire job is to reach out to those people who have requested for information. And again, it's all about just discovering more about that student. So reaching out to them and just having a quick phone call, hey, how are you? Tell me what you're looking for. And then introducing them through our admissions process. So getting them set up with one of our really easy, quick Zoom calls where we talk more about the program. And then the other half of my team, my admissions specialists, take it from there and help them get set up for classes.
Would you say any of these meetings are exactly the same, or is everyone a little bit different than the last one?
Honestly, they're always different. And that's what makes my job so exciting. And it's not even just from the student's perspective. One of the things I have told my team is that they all have different personalities for a reason. So it's really fun, no matter who you land with on the admissions team, you're going to have a different fun experience, but also the joy I get is meeting all the different potential students and how different everybody is, but also how everybody has a lot of the same goals in mind. And that's the joy and the fun of what I get to do every day.
It's almost exciting because you never know what's gonna
you never know, honestly. Yeah, I often will be sitting at my desk and waiting for that potential student to drop into my Zoom meeting room, and I honestly I don't know always what to expect, but that's the fun of it, and then it just goes from there. But hopefully my job, I can help them feel excited and have a good time while they're in the process as well. We want to have fun while we're here.
So, Carrie, one of those things that these potential students or people that are interested in devCodeCamp, whenever they fill out the form, they speak to you, your team, one of the things that's included in those steps is the info session. Now, obviously, an info session is kind of a broad term, and it can mean a little bit of anything depending on who it is or what you're talking to. What does an info session mean for devCodeCamp?
Yeah, so what we have learned is that honestly, a potential student could just research themselves into a hole, or they do it for forever, and it's really, it can get discouraging. So what we have done is we have created about a 30-minute live Zoom meeting for our info session, where we want to basically help them get all their research done right then and there. Like, you don't have to spend days doing it. Just come meet with us for 30 minutes. And because we're not only speaking to what devCodeCamp does in particular in our programs, but we're also talking about the job industry, what that looks like in 2022, some statistics, what are some median salaries out there, things like that. But also, hey, what exactly does a software developer do? Like, some of our potential students, they are that early in their process. So we try to touch on a lot of different points so that they can see if this is really where they want to go with their career. And then, of course, we definitely dive into our programs and what we have to offer. So the goal is by the end of the info session, they have a really, really great idea, not only about who devCodeCamp is, but also just the whole outlook of the job industry and what the job looks like, and kind of can really picture their future a little bit better after the info session.
I'm curious, what's a reoccurring question that usually pops up during these kind of beginning steps? And also, if you're willing to give the answer to that, that'd be cool too.
Yeah, absolutely. The number one thing, usually my goal is by the end, they should be excited. They should be like, wow, this is great. I think I can actually do this. So the question is usually, oh no, now how am I supposed to afford this? So that's where we actually meet after the info session. We schedule one-on-one appointments, no commitment, nothing like that. It's really just a time, honestly, Carl, like you and I are sitting here right now, just talking with each other about more personal details in how to make this happen. So going through the different financing options and the tuitions, and just laying all the details out there for them, like, this is how you can actually make this happen for yourself. So whether it be tuitions or when they want to get started, it's really just more of a kind of like, wow, that's fun, this looks interesting, now how do we do that? So that's where we break it down into one-on-one meetings and really spend the time with them and help them see that, hey, this actually is possible.
And then the next step is basically enrolling, right? I mean, they're
Absolutely. Yeah, so
going on into
they're going straight into it. So when they're ready to make that step, we work with them, we talk them through the enrollment and help them get set up as far as expectations before classes start, but also what to expect kind of in that week before classes, and try to make that transition from us. They've created this kind of comfy place here with us in admissions, and we just try to make sure that handoff into instruction is an easy one and a fun one as well. So that's the next step of our jobs, is just say, hey, this is what you're going to expect.
awesome. So a couple of weeks ago, I had Paul and Lauren, obviously our career services, on the podcast, and one of the things that we spoke about in that episode was imposter syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
Now, obviously, a lot of students, that's a very real thing when it comes to
Absolutely.
students, because of just how fast everything is going.
Mm-hmm.
I was wondering if these people you speak to this early on have imposter syndrome.
Absolutely. I think we deal with that just as much, if not more than Paul and Lauren. So what happens, you mentioned the form earlier. So they'll fill out something online saying, hey, I want somebody to contact us. And by the time we reach out, they're like, no, I'm no longer interested. And that's where the imposter syndrome comes in. And I always say, hey, at some point you were, just talk to me about that. Let's talk about it. There was, whether you had a bad day at work or whether this was just a really frustrating time and you're ready for a change, let's just talk about that. And so really that's where it comes in. And it's like, hey, I'm not here to, like, be pushy or anything. I really just want to talk to you about that moment where this was something that you wanted to do. So that's where we come in and try to show them that, like, hey, if it really is something that you thought about, like, let's talk about it and let's see if this is something that would be a good idea for you. So that's where it comes in for us, is that very beginning phone call. But luckily my crew, they are really good at just being like, hey, let's just talk about it. That's all we're here for, is just to help you explore that idea that you once had when you asked us to give you a call.
At the end of those conversations, do they usually walk away feeling capable and
Absolutely.
air quote worthy to become a
Absolutely.
developer? Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing, is like, hey, like, you can actually do this. At one point you sat down and you thought, you know what, I'm going to ask for more information on this, and it's our job. You don't have to do this alone. Our job is to come alongside you and show you that you actually can. And that's the fun part, is being able to be like, no, this is a real thing that you can do. And my team, I think, is more than capable of doing that. And they're just a lot of fun to talk to as well, if I do say so myself.
Yeah, absolutely. Which is actually a pretty good transitional question into the next one, which is I'm really excited to hear this answer. I was wondering what your absolute favorite part of the job is outside of working with B.
Well, obviously, Carl Peterson, number one. Number two, honestly, it might surprise you. Like, obviously, my job is admissions, and it absolutely is a joy helping students get started. But my favorite part is when Paul and Lauren announce those jobs. I often, almost every single time, say, wait a second, they were just in my Zoom meeting room yesterday, it seems like. And it brings me back to the conversations that we had and the discovery of their goals and the things that they want to do. And the unique thing that I get to do is I get to know a lot of these, personal stories for these potential students. And that's my favorite part, is then I'm like, wow, they did it. Just like I told them that they could. And I'm just so proud. Like, I have a lot of like big sister moments at that time where I'm just so incredibly proud of them. And, I watch them all on LinkedIn to see, what they go and do and fly the nest. And that's it. It's that job announcement where I'll be honest with you, Carl, sometimes I'll send them a quick message and say, I told you so. And, obviously congratulating them, but sometimes it's, I told you could do this. So that's it for me, is that full circle moment.
Well, that's really sweet. And you said it would be surprising to me. I don't think so at all, actually. I thought that was going to be your answer because
okay, good.
I talk a lot about like day one. And when I refer to it, in blog posts or a lot of
Mm-hmm.
conversational settings, I refer to day one kind of like their day one as a student, but
Mm-hmm.
really their day one starts with your team.
It does.
So
Absolutely.
you get a unique position and your team gets a unique position where you literally are with them from
Mm-hmm.
day one to that graduation day. So or
Absolutely.
to when they become a developer
Yeah.
too. So
Even beyond graduation.
yeah,
Yeah.
so that's totally makes enough sense for me
Mm-hmm.
to assume that would have been your answer.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the fun part for me. The end
So
goal.
yeah, absolutely. So speaking of end, we are at the end of this interview already.
Already.
I
Time
told
flies when
you
you're having fun.
I told you it would. Yeah. So I end every one of these, whether it be an alumni spotlight or just a
Mm-hmm.
podcast episode, with the exact same question. Are
Mm-hmm.
you ready?
I mean, I'm ready. Let's go.
Okay, let's go.
Was that the
Somebody,
question?
that was a question. Thank you so much, everybody.
All right, great. This is wonderful.
Are you ready to go? uh, no, if somebody was watching this or
Mm-hmm.
listening to this right here, right now,
Mm-hmm.
really curious to learn more or even just ready to enroll,
Mm-hmm.
what would you say to them right now?
Absolutely. I would tell them that this moment that they're pondering this is the hardest step. To just simply get on the phone with my team, and you'll be able to take a big deep breath and say, you know what, this is not as scary as I thought it would be. So just to do it, jump off the cliff, let us catch you and help you through the rest of it. But honestly, it's what I tell everybody, is that you've already taken the hardest step, and that is that initial, hey, I want to talk to somebody about this. So once you do that, the rest, you have somebody on your side, whether it is us in admissions, it's the instructors or career services. It's you're not alone in this anymore. So just jump, do it, and let us show you how this is really possible and how exciting it can be. And I got lots of stories to tell to show you that we've been helping a lot of people for a long time. So it's always fun to share those as well. And just help. That's our thing, is just let us help you.
That's a really wonderful and genuine answer. I appreciate that. And honestly, I think part of me wants to believe every word you said, but there's a little part of me that thinks that you just want to send more "I told you so" messages.
A little bit.
Whatever it is, it's really great advice, and I couldn't agree more. Carrie, this, like I said, flew by. Thank you
Always.
so very much. I think it was incredibly knowledgeable and entertaining at the very least, uh, and a peek into emissions and you and your team. So thank you so
Absolutely.
much for making time for us
Yeah.
and
Thanks,
for this
Carl.
today. Absolutely. And everyone watching, listening, reading, whatever you're doing, thank you so very much for joining yet again. I'm Carl Peterson, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, Carrie.
Bye.